Hello everybody and welcome back to Jungleland 805 here on YouTube. Today is overcast, but it is an exciting day. It's all about that mini garden makeover that I've been teasing for a couple of weeks now. I'm finally going to get started on it today. I am going to work on this section that you see right behind me here. I'm going to be removing some stuff. I'm going to be moving some stuff, and I'm going to be adding a few things as well. So the theme of this episode is to transform this space and do it within a budget of $100. I think I'm going to be able to do that because I have a lot of things in my garden that I need to move anyway. So some of those will be coming here. Some of the things that you see here will be going back in. I will buy a few things to add. And then also I need to get some soil to add into the mix back here. As you can see, I've got lots of fallen leaves on the ground. I've got just kind of a mishmash of aeoniums and bromeliads, tillandsias. I've got the cordyline there. I think I'm going to move this because these get pretty big and I already have one just a few feet away that will fill in very nicely. But as you can see, this part of my garden does need some work. So the challenge here is to transform this spot behind me for $100 or less. So by the time I'm done with this, it will look a lot cleaner and a lot more lush. So I'm going to go for a wardrobe change, put on a big hat to protect me from what sun there is out here at the moment. Let's do it. So this area is looking very bare again, kind of like it did in 2011 and actually September 24th, 2011. So just almost to the day back then that this area I had bare down to the dirt, just like this. I tore out and laid the aeoniums on this side. Oh, and a little bit of this andesine there. All of the organic matter that came off the top went there in the middle under my apple box from days working in television. And then the tillandsias, a few bromeliads, Spanish moss, whatnot, ended up in this pile. A lot of this is going to go back in. Casualty, I ripped the only leaf off of this fairly rare cycad that has been growing in my yard for like 5 years and has only had this leaf because something has been nibbling off every new leaf it tries to put out, and I was getting frustrated with it anyway. If it comes back, great. If not, I'll probably end up putting another one in my garden at some point. Busted that sucker off, but these things reproduce pretty readily, so that's not an issue. There's a number of spiders and centipedes that lost their homes. Sorry, guy. And the centipedes are too quick. They just go. So I'm trying to get a lot of this out of here. Couple of constraints. I don't really want to move my little fountain there. Again, I don't know about you guys. I love these things. This cordyline, I might move it out a little bit to get a little more sun because I know those like a little more sun. Sorry, buddy. Where that rock is, I have, may he rest in peace, our little sport guy is under there. So I can't dig there. Okay, so let's move that plant and start digging some holes for some other stuff I want to bring in. Okay, so I got the hole dug, and what I'm going to put in here is some Archontophoenix Cunninghamiana. I have a lot of them around my yard. I really like them. And I got them for such a good price. $34.98 for this pair here. And they're healthy and on their way to becoming full-grown palm trees. So I'm gonna make those the focal point right here in the front. This Chamandaria elegans is going to make its way into the garden makeover here. I'm going to go here right in front of the ficus there. I've moved it from another part of my yard, so this is $0 right here. Spent a couple of bucks on some soil. I think about $7 and some change. I'll get you an exact amount for the end of the video for each of those, and I got 2 of those. And I've got a hole here for this one, so now let's plant this palm over here. Major players are in. I'm going to start filling in with some of the understory now and get this area filled back in here. Okay, so here's what it looks like so far with the 2 new palms installed, the giant bird of paradise moved, the aeoniums rearranged, and as you could probably tell watching the time-lapse video, I don't like my aeoniums to be leggy, so even as they start to branch out, I just chop them off and stick them in the ground. I know you're supposed to let them dry out on the ends, but I seem to have done okay with them up to this point without doing that. And I think these cordylines are going to do a lot better with the full sun they're going to get. Okay, so that's what it looks like so far. And probably going to fill in with a little bit of more greenery around the dirt here. I think this Archontophoenix Cunninghamiana is going to look beautiful when it gets big. That giant bird of paradise is going to completely fill up back there. I popped those alocasia back in the back, as you can see there, just because they are very young and the leaves are very fresh. They just came out. So that's going to be something that will get high over time. They do get big. So not to worry, they'll come peeking around the tiki and keep up with the palms for sure. All right, so that's what I got so far. All right, so I'm finished. I got cleaned up. I got the section behind me cleaned out here. I went through and started removing plants, cleaned up all of the debris that was sitting around. So I spent $34.98 on this Archontophoenix Cunninghamiana, otherwise known as a king palm. I thought that would make a good focal point for this area since I had lost that large Australian tree fern. And then I added 6 cubic feet of soil. They were $10.48 per bag, and I bought 2 of those. Because I was able to move a number of things from around my garden, including another palm tree, several tillandsias, a couple of bromeliads, and other few pieces of greenery. Of my budget of $100, I only spent $55.94. So that's where I'm going to stop for now. I could add a few more things, I suppose, in the foreground to cover up some of that dirt, but it's nice and fresh and it looks okay. Let me tell you though, it looks a lot cleaner, and I like having something larger in this spot. I moved the tiki statue over a few feet. It just seemed to fit pretty well right there because it was going to be blocked by the Chamandorea palm that I moved from another part of my yard anyway. I went ahead and left the little water feature there where it was and just filled in around with some plants so that it kind of disguised it a little better so it doesn't stick out like a sore thumb, like the fake waterfall that it actually is. So that's it for this episode and the mini makeover of this section of my garden. I hope you enjoyed watching, and I hope you found it informative. I hope to see you next time here at Jungleland 805 on YouTube.